Hello, everyone. My name's Chris Holloway, and I'm here with the awesome Catherine Green.
Hi, everybody.
We're here to talk about amplifying your leadership through the practice of gratitude. And we're going to turn our videos off, but we wanted to start with them on so that you could see our faces and know that there's real people here. Wouldn't it be great if we all had our videos on? Someday we'll have the technology to do that, right? There's 95 of you here on this webinar, which is wonderful. So we're going to turn our videos off and get to the presentation and the introductions. All right. So welcome to this webinar. We are so grateful to have you here. And before Catherine and I introduce ourselves a little bit, I just wanted to say a little bit about what the Global Leadership League is. We are a new-ish organization in the field of international education with a mission to ignite change across the global education landscape by empowering, connecting, and training women leaders. Of course, men and women are welcome to join us in this endeavor. And we really think everyone is welcome if they believe in this mission, which I think is all-encompassing. And right now we have 600 members worldwide, and we're growing. We have a growing membership in Australia, in the UK, and in India. So hats off to all of you, and we really welcome you here with us. Our theme for the year is Amplify. And the reason why is because it has such a great definition, which you can see here. It's really to increase our power together, to magnify it, and to boost it, which is something that we've been doing all year. So who are we? My name's Chris. I'm on the founding board of the Global Leadership League, and I have the great job of heading up CIS Abroad, the Center for International Studies, which is study and work abroad organization with the vision to change lives and connect a more compassionate and connected world, one student at a time. So I'm really glad to be the host for these webinars. And I'm really grateful to introduce Catherine Green to you. Catherine and I have been working together for the past 6 weeks or so on this webinar, and I feel like, how in the world did I never know her before? She is amazing and has been so much fun to work with. She's the owner of True You, which is an empowerment life coaching practice. She actually has a big, deep background in our field. Cynthia Banks introduced me to her. She's worked in international education for 18 years, and she's really passionate about helping people create life-changing experiences. She focuses her practice on empowering professional women, like most of us are, to release the power of the past to reclaim their lives. And she defines empowerment coaching as facilitating self-awareness through co-creative inquiry and exploration. And she really offers women a way to make peace with their past, to learn how to trust and believe in ourselves again, so we can live the lives we truly want and are meant to live. So Catherine, take it away. Tell us more.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris. Just a quick thank you to Cynthia as well for introducing us. I feel like I should have known you a long time ago, Chris. So, thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to share just a little bit more about myself and to take the opportunity to share about appreciation and gratitude and how it can make such huge changes in our lives. So I've always wanted to help people. It's ultimately to help them realize their potential and create the life of their dreams. This work has been my passion and purpose for really as long as I can remember. In one form or another, I've always been coaching or teaching. So as Chris noted, I spent 18 years in international education. I actually worked for Cynthia Banks as the Director of Enrollment Services at Global Links Learning Abroad. So I started there in 95, which is a little crazy. So it was 7 years ago when I experienced a personal loss with the death of my husband to suicide. And as you might imagine, this was an incredibly challenging time and one that became quite transformative as well. It's interesting how these kinds of tragedies have a way of illuminating new paths for us. And after a lot of soul searching during that first year after his death, I decided to leave international education. And that was in 2013 in hopes of creating a new way to help people change their lives. So I realized through my own experience, that difficult time in my life, that we often go to external sources and look outside of ourselves in hopes of finding happiness and changing the difficult feelings that we're having. But that often leaves us feeling empty. And what really fills us up, what I learned, is that we've got to be able to find that internal knowing and understanding that we are worthy in and of ourselves without having to do or be anything in particular. So 5 years ago, I created my business, True You, to help people learn how to develop their own self-worth through the practice of empowerment life coaching. So how did gratitude and appreciation play a part in my life? It was pretty significant it's been pretty significant for the last 7 years. It's hard for us to imagine sometimes or find a way to be grateful when we're in the midst of difficulty. But this is exactly when the practice is most beneficial. Research has proven that being in a state of gratitude has physical and emotional and social benefits for us. For me, it created resiliency, trust and belief in myself, trust and belief in others, and a desire to do something different with my life. And on that note, I will let us get started. Chris, do you want to share our learning objectives?
You got it. So here we are. Here's what we are hoping you will get from today: to learn how to cultivate appreciation and gratitude for yourself and others, to learn how appreciation and gratitude can empower your leadership in our wonderful field, and even to create a gratitude plan to end 2018 on a really good note and create momentum and amplify our potential for 2019. I want to say also to note that you're all muted because it would be quite loud with all of you out there in the world, but you can see in your control panel, you should have a question and answer box, and that's where we're going to ask you to give us some input today. So make sure you do that. This is also being recorded, so if you have to go or a friend you knew was going to make it can't make it, we will be sharing this out with you. It will be available to all members on the Global Leadership League website. So without further ado, here we go.
All right, thanks, Chris. Our first section here is about cultivating appreciation and gratitude. And before we get started, I want to make sure that we take some time to really define appreciation and gratitude. We often use these interchangeably, but they're quite different in meaning and how we experience them. So as you'll see there, appreciation is the recognition and enjoyment of the good qualities of someone and or something. This appreciation is an internal experience. It's something that we feel inside of ourselves, that we create by recognizing and experiencing that enjoyment. It's very much an internal process. Gratitude takes it outside of us. Gratitude is the quality of being thankful, the readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. So gratitude is the experience that takes us outside of ourselves. It's using appreciation and then extending it beyond our internal experience. I'm going to take you on a little journey today of creating a garden. So we'll use the analogy of creating our garden as we look at cultivating appreciation and gratitude. Appreciation is where we have to begin. This is where we plant the seeds for our garden. In appreciation, you become aware of what pleases you. We don't often spend a lot of time considering the simple, everyday things in our lives that can bring us joy. Right? We kind of skip over all of those things. When things stop being new to us, we stop focusing on them. But those things can still bring us joy when we take the time to look. When you find those things that please you, you hold your attention and consider the qualities there. That's the key component. You look at it and you decide, how wonderful is it? What does it look like? How useful is it? What does it offer you? What is it that you experience when you're engaged with it? This attention and this focus increases your positive feelings. When you go there, it's important to then notice the improved feelings that you have and let them resonate in your mind and body. Really get them to be an all-encompassing experience for you. And then become appreciative of the way that you're feeling. This recognition and enjoyment will move you into the quality of thankfulness. Appreciation then leads us to gratitude. So here's where you get to come play with us a little bit. Okay. Before we look at gratitude, we want to practice appreciation. I want to do an exercise about that with you. So look around you for a moment in your immediate space and find something, or if you happen to be with people, you can find a person in your immediate space to recognize and enjoy the qualities of right now. Okay, so that quality might be something that you've always seen, that you always notice, or it might be something new. But just take the time and have a look. Pick something that's there, one thing, one person, and be thinking about why you appreciate it. And we'd love for you to go ahead and plug it into that Q&A box so that we can have a look at them. So I'm going to give you a quick example. So right now, I'm actually looking at my soothing cup of tea that I have, and I'm appreciating the warmth of the tea as well as the cup itself. It's white and it has blue flowers and it has my initial on it in red, and it's bright and cheerful. Those are the feelings that I get when I look at it. So just take a moment. We're going to give you about a minute here to think about that and plug it into the Q&A. This will be fun. Don't worry.
That's right.
And then Chris will give us, she'll just, if you wouldn't mind, just read some of those off that you see coming through.
Yes, so I have a wall hanging from a country that someone remembers fondly traveling to. I have an office window that allows me a beautiful view of my campus, a wooden frame of the outline of the state of Maine, and a home with a heart in the middle.
Wow.
A photo of the beach and a palm tree. It is snowing here in Northampton, Massachusetts, so that sounds particularly good to me. Someone says, I appreciate my friend at work who always keeps a good sense of humor.
Nice.
Well, that's super important. Somebody who really appreciates privacy. Maybe they have a private office in an office with a lot of openness.
Love it.
My Christmas tree, it's warm and sparkly and filled with ornaments that hold special memories. Nice. A business card holder that my friend and colleague gave me that used to be his, and I always said I liked it. Aw, sweet, right?
I love it. Love it.
Sunshine. I have a lot more. Do you want me to stop?
Well, I don't. I would love to just keep reading everybody's, but for the sake of time, why don't we let's go one step further here. And I want everyone to think about something in themselves, a quality that you have. It can be something aesthetically as well, but just think about a quality about yourself that you recognize and enjoy. This is taking it further into the practice. Sometimes it's easy to look outside of ourselves and be appreciative outside, but we don't often appreciate what's going on internally. So I want us to take that time. Here's an example for you that you can draw from as you come up with your own and plug them into that Q&A section. So for me, I appreciate my compassionate heart that helps me connect with people. Something that's just a physical thing that I appreciate is that I'm 5'7". So have fun with it. Just enjoy the good feelings. And imagine here too, if you're struggling a little bit with this, that you're that you are your best friend and that you want to share something about your best friend with them?
Hmm. I have one of our participants says they make people feel comfortable, um, and it sounds like it's connected to their smile.
Nice.
Yeah. I appreciate my ability to bring diverse people together.
Super important in international education.
Yeah. And really everywhere in life, right? I'm good at sensing the feeling in the room and trying to react to that in a positive way.
Mm,
I appreciate my inner and outer strength, the emotional and mental resilience to see things through and inspire others. Nice.
beautiful.
I appreciate my ability to push myself out of my comfort zone. I appreciate my old soul and how it allows me to connect with all types of people.
So good.
I appreciate my ability to engage with people, ask them questions, get to know them, and make them feel special. A lot of extroverts here in this room, huh? In this virtual room, I should say.
So good.
My ability to appreciate each person as a unique and beautiful human. I appreciate my ability to listen and troubleshoot and problem solve for others, as well as coach and mentor others.
Lovely.
There's somebody, oh, this is great. I appreciate my humor creates happiness and brings people together. Gosh, humor is underappreciated sometimes, right? We can
It
take
certainly
ourselves very
is.
seriously.
So true. That is beautiful. Thank you, everybody, for plugging those in. If we didn't get to yours, know that they're there and we appreciate your participation in that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much fun. So, as we move on from this particular exercise, I want to take you to the point of gratitude. So, as you become more and more aware of the things in your life that you appreciate, those seeds that you plant in appreciation will grow, and you'll see the joy in your life begin to transform. So, once this happens, you'll want to tend to your garden so the plants continue to flourish. This is where the daily practice of gratitude begins. This practice turns your mind to focus not on what is lacking, not what's missing, but what you already have. It also helps you appreciate and be grateful for what is yet to come in the future. And I want to just pause on this one because that is so important to remember. So let's just take the analogy here of the seed. And when you have seeds and you're going to plant them in your garden, you have this expectation of what that seed is going to turn into, right? So let's just imagine it's going to turn into a flower. So you're planting the seeds to create this beautiful garden of flowers. In that scenario where you just have the seed in your hand, you've already begun to appreciate the blossom, the blooms, the beauty that's coming into the future. That is something that you can do every single day in every aspect of your life. So just keep that in mind. Gratitude creates affirmations of goodness, seeing the benefits and the positivity in the world. Actively practicing gratitude allows you to make causal decisions and to recognize that someone or some force outside of you has created something for you. Ultimately, gratitude creates joy. Daily exercises in appreciation and gratitude will bring you into a new state of being where you begin to see all of your life, every aspect of it, the good and the bad, through the lens of gratitude. According to Brené Brown, famed author and grounded theory researcher, people who characterize their lives as joyful have a gratitude of practice. Now, this isn't just an attitude of gratitude, but it's a tangible daily practice of it. So it's journaling or expressing what you're grateful for at certain periods of the day. It might be sitting at the dinner table with family or friends and going around the table to say what each person is grateful for. Brene suggests that in this gratitude practice, whatever it might be, it can be a soulful window into what's going on in your own life. And if you do it with people, you can see into how things are going for others as well. I also want to talk with you about the obstacles that might come up as you begin to implement an appreciation and gratitude exercise or practice. Interestingly, you or people you know might be thinking it's just a practice of fluff, that it just doesn't matter. It's all kind of just a way to think positively and have rose-colored glasses. But let me assure you, it's not that way. It's not just about positive thinking, and it's not always an easy practice. Like gardening, it takes effort, commitment, and dedication. Sometimes gratitude can be at odds with our own ingrained beliefs and tendencies. So there's research by Robert Emmons. He's at the University of California, Davis, the world's leading expert or scientific expert on gratitude. And he offers that these challenges may arise. So he talks about that it can feel uncomfortable to give thanks to someone or something outside of ourselves when things go well for us. We like to think that we're responsible for it when things go well, and we don't automatically have an inclination to look outside of ourselves. Gratitude can also go against our need to feel in control of our environment. With gratitude, we're required to accept life the way that it is. That's not always something that we want to do. It also challenges our perception and expectations of life, that life should be fair, right? So we like to believe that we deserve what we get. Good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people. But this just simply isn't the case. It's not how life works. And we know that even though we try and make it be fair all the time. Sometimes we get more than what we've deserved, and sometimes we get less. And lastly, when we feel entitled to what we deserve, it makes it much more difficult to feel grateful for the things that we already have. So why are we looking at the obstacles? It's important to look there to know that if you undertake a gratitude practice, that you might be faced with some of these challenges. And when you look at the challenges, you can create strategies for working around them. You can think of these obstacles like the weeds that might come up into the garden and take over if we don't deal with them. The next thing that we get to do is an exercise. So it's taking the one step further. So we've been in the appreciation stage. We've experienced what it is to have that internal appreciation. Now we're going to practice gratitude. So I want you to go back to the items that you selected at the beginning, whether that was the external item or the one about yourself. You can pick one and begin to look at it from a quality of thankfulness. What do you notice? What are you thankful for about that item or about that quality of yourself? Who could you thank? To really be specific here, this is important. And I'll give you a quick example using my cup of tea and then about the compassionate heart so you can see how this works. So if I were just to say to you, I'm grateful for my cup of tea. That has an element of goodness to it, right? It has a little bit of a happy nature when I say that, but it kind of falls flat. So what we want to do is really embody the experience of my cup. Okay, so here's what I would say instead. I am thankful for the cup it is in, and for Kim, who gave it to me several years ago. I use it frequently, and I'm thankful for the smile it brings to my face and the memory of a good friend. I will send her a quick message to let her know how much I appreciate the experience this gift gives to me each and every time I use it. So you see how that changes the experience of what I'm appreciating? It's no longer just a cup, but it's the cup, it's the way that it looks, it's the way that I feel, it's Kim, the person who gave it to me, and it makes me want to reach out to her to tell her what an amazing thing this is. Okay, so I want you to have a thought about this and plug it all in, and Chris is going to read those for us as you do that. Oh, I should probably give you the other one too. If you choose to go on the internal, so I'm grateful for my compassionate heart. That's one thing I could say, right? But it falls a little flat, so we'll go into the other. And I would say, I'm grateful to my parents for giving me so many opportunities to travel and experience differences in people at a young age. I was encouraged to see the good in people and find love and compassion for them in whatever circumstance they're in. I'm grateful for the lessons I learned that helped create my compassionate heart. So you see, I went outside of myself, and my parents get credit, right, for for giving me experiences that created this in me.
Mm. So we have one, I'm grateful for the opportunities that I've had in my life that have put me in the position to bring people together. I will reach out to those people who have mentored me.
Mm,
That's nice.
so good.
And I'm grateful for my travel watercolor palette, for the confidence and joy it gives me, for the people, particularly my husband who supports my artistic play, and the artists who design tools like this for people like me.
Wow.
I could let my partner and tool creator know how much I enjoy this. It's a great idea,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes it's the people we're closest to that we forget to say thanks,
Yeah.
right?
So true.
I'm grateful that I felt comfortable enough to always tell my friend that I loved his business card holder, even going as far to say that I wanted it, even if he never really wanted to give it to me. I'm grateful that we have such an open friendship, and I'm planning on calling him tomorrow morning. That's great.
Perfect.
I love those. How any other things out there, folks, that you're grateful for?
Yeah. I'll just
I'm
say,
grateful to the company that recruited me to move to Maine, which is my heart and soul.
oh,
Nice.
lovely. So if you came up with something that took you to the idea of thanking someone, put that on your calendar and do it tomorrow. Be surprised at what that does. It's such an awesome butterfly effect. All right. Is there any others that you want to
Yeah,
share?
I'm grateful for the intense physical activities I've participated in and lessons learned in life to
Mm.
cultivate inner and outer strength. I will share this with my husband, who's my rock.
Ah,
Hmm,
lovely.
nice.
All right. Well, we will keep moving along.
All
That
righty.
was a really fun practice, and just notice how you feel as you do that, right? What are the good feelings that come up, and let them really sit and resonate inside your body.
Hmm.
So after planting the seeds of appreciation and tending consistently to the garden of gratitude, you'll begin to reap the benefits. The research from Robert Emmons at UC Davis concluded that people who practice gratitude consistently report the following physical benefits: a stronger immune system, people are less bothered by aches and pains and high blood pressure, they exercise more and take better care of their health, and people find that they sleep longer and feel more refreshed in the morning. Doesn't that sound nice?
That all just sounds sweet.
I'll take it.
Take it
All
all.
right. So, on the psychological front, people experience higher levels of positive emotions. They're more alert, alive, and awake. They share that they are more resistant to stress, experience more joy and pleasure, and they're more optimistic, happier, and experience a greater sense of self-worth. Huh, I love
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll use less stress. And socially, what we see is that research shows that people are more helpful, generous, compassionate. They're more forgiving, and they're more outgoing and feel less lonely and isolated. When you go from that internal state, right, and you're going to show gratitude and express your gratitude, it takes you out into the greater experience of the world and leaves you less, engaged inside yourself, which can contribute to a sense of loneliness and isolation. So taking you outside of that is what we're going for.
Mm-hmm. And, from the last slide on the psychological benefits, Catherine, there's a lot of research we've talked about in some other webinars and at the League around women in leadership facing different types of stereotype threat and self-doubt. And the a way to counteract it is feelings of self-worth. So it might also kind of align with, our leadership journeys, especially as women, and what we need.
Absolutely. And we'll go more into that as we proceed through this webinar. That's exactly right. We are now going to look at that empowered leadership through appreciation and gratitude. I hope you've begun to see that practicing gratitude isn't just fluff. It has so much substance, and it's not about creating a surface level experience of happiness. Rather, it's about diving deeply into the practice and creating a new state of being. So let's define leadership here. And in Dare to Lead, if you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend it. Brené Brown is excellent author. I've read the majority of her books, but this one was the most recent one I read, and it's excellent. And she writes in Dare to Lead that leadership is not about titles, status, and wielding power. A leader is someone who takes responsibility for recognizing the potential in people and ideas and has the courage to develop that potential. And John C. Maxwell, in his book, Developing the Leader Within You, defines leadership simply as influence. The definition of influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something. And I really love just distilling it down to the simple word of influence, that leadership is about influence. And in my opinion, these two definitions are meaningful at any level of leadership, from the beginner to the experienced leader and everything in between. And I'd like us just to first remember here that leadership can occur at any level. Title, position, it doesn't matter where you are in the hierarchy. It happens at any level. It happens in any circumstance. Influence happens by example, by who you are, by what you think, how you feel, and the actions that you take. Leadership is actually learned. We often think that people are just born leaders, right? That they just come out of the womb and there they are and they're a leader. And that's not the case. Leadership is a learned quality. It requires commitment and responsibility to personal growth and the growth of others. All right, so now that we have defined leadership, I'd like to look at the two distinct leadership styles that Brené offers in her book. So the first is armored leadership. It creates a culture of scarcity where vision is set on the things that aren't working. When we are in this state, we have the need to self-protect. We steer clear of the feelings, that we perceive to be overly positive when something good happens, so that we're not caught off guard. Interesting, right? We don't look for opportunities for joy and recognition for fear of losing it. Armored leaders have a tendency to take vulnerability and other emotions out of the workplace. They promote perfectionism, emotional stoicism, and false compartmentalization of our lives and our work. They limit courage, creativity, and trust in themselves and in others as well. By and large, we've been taught as a culture that feelings are frivolous. And yet the truth is that everything we do or don't do is driven by the way we feel. This is actually scientifically proven. Our feelings are created by the thoughts that we think, and thus our thoughts and our feelings drive our actions, and our actions create the results that we see in our lives. If we ignore our feelings, positive or negative, and we base everything solely on taking action, we limit the possibilities for ourselves and others, and ultimately the results that we can achieve. So the second style is daring leadership. This is kind of like service leadership, if you're familiar with that. And in this style, abundance is created and joy is everywhere, in the small things and the big things. We change what we think about what is normal. We begin to focus on all the things that serve ourselves, our business, and our clients. We feel like we have enough, that we're supported and our needs are met. When we feel this way, we're more creative and we see more possibilities. Now, enough can be an interesting word. For me, it used to have kind of a negative connotation, that if it was enough, that it wasn't enough, right? So it kind of created this sensation in me that there was more to be had. So I want to look at the definition of it because it's really key in all of this. Enough is defined as occurring in such quality, quantity, or scope as to fully meet demands, needs, or expectations. Just let that settle in for a minute. Occurring in such quantity, quality, or scope as to fully meet demands, needs, or expectations. Oh, wouldn't that just be amazing if you felt that way all the time?
Mm-hmm.
So when we're in a state of being like that on a consistent basis, even the most challenging situations can't throw us out of balance in the long term. We're more resilient, we look for solutions, we seek and offer support, and we know that we will rise above any challenge that comes our way and find happiness and joy again. So I want to make special note here that when we employ daring leadership, that method, it doesn't go against the idea of going above and beyond. Okay? Sometimes that enough quality or that enough word can give us that sense that we don't need to go above and beyond, but that's absolutely not how it works when you employ the daring leadership method. It actually facilitates the behavior because people begin to feel their innate worth. In armored relationship, on the other side of it, the drive to go above and beyond comes from the need to prove our worthiness. So the drive is different. And this comes directly from having that scarcity mentality. So daring leaders invest time in attending to fears and feelings. They encourage integration of thinking, feeling, and action. And they cultivate courage, compassion, and connection. In our professional and personal lives, it's so important to remember that we're not alone. The purpose of cultivating appreciation and gratitude in this context is to get over the illusion of our separateness. With a feeling of community, we experience greater engagement and can develop our influence within the framework of daring leadership. All right. So in Dare to Lead, Brene offers 16 characteristics of each of the two styles of leadership to show the contrast of the experience we will have in each. I'm not going to go through all 16, but I really would encourage you to go get the book and read them. It's pretty fascinating. So this is one example as it relates to gratitude in leadership. In armored leadership, leaders work from scarcity and squander opportunities for joy and recognition. So if you remember, what is appreciation? It's recognizing and feeling the enjoyment. So if we're working in armored leadership and we're squandering it, we're never going to have appreciation for anything and thus never get to the gratitude. In daring leadership, leaders practice gratitude on a daily basis, and they celebrate milestones and victories. Bringing gratitude into the workplace and into our leadership allows the pleasure of accomplishment and the cultivation of love and joy for what we do, who we do it with, who we do it for, and why we do it at all. It lets us experience the feelings and allows us those feelings to be present in our lives and help us encourage it in others. It creates a sense of community, togetherness, and an all for one and one for all mentality. So beyond the theory, as we know, we like to learn, right? Most of us are lifelong learners. We want to learn all sorts of information and have philosophies and all of that, but it doesn't really work for us. We create zero influence if we don't implement it into our lives. So we have to take it there first. And then from there, we can influence others. So here are 6 things that you can do to begin to think about how to influence through gratitude. Number 1 is creating your own gratitude practice, which might be as simple as quick journaling in the morning, even writing what you're thankful for on sticky notes and putting it around your office or at home, setting an alarm. So when the alarm goes off, you immediately think of something you're grateful for. There's so many different things. You can also use the practice that we're going to offer you today. Number 2 is to think about beginning or ending meetings with a gratitude share. Have everyone express one thing that they're grateful for. And you can create it in such a way that it's, if people say it in 30 seconds or less, so that you keep your meeting moving on. Recognize team members for their qualities and contributions. Celebrate accomplishments daily, as well as the milestones and the major victories. Okay? It's important to recognize those simple things that we do on a regular basis, really recognize them and celebrate them. Write down the achievements. So your own, those that happen for your peers, your team, your department, your supervisor, your university, or your company. Really get curious and begin to look for all the goodness that's out there. And finally, setting goals with gratitude. It can be one of the most interesting and beneficial practices to spend time looking for what you're grateful for in the past, the present, and the future as you go about setting your goals. In the present moment, you can look back and celebrate all of the accomplishments that you had in the previous year or the previous experience of goals. Then set your goals for the future with those positive feelings that come up for you. Those positive feelings might be like accomplishment, dedication, enjoyment, excitement, anything that might be there. When you feel those feelings, then you can take those into the setting your goal or setting the goals experience. You begin to cultivate your appreciation and gratitude for what you want into the future. So let's do another quick share here. Tell us what you're already doing or what your office is already doing that expresses appreciation and or cultivates gratitude. Just type a few of those things in for us, and then Chris will share them up.
Mm-hmm. Our office has a staff shout-out board where we share cross-team warm fuzzies.
That's fun.
I like to write handwritten thank you notes after meetings because they don't seem to be something folks do anymore.
Yeah, handwritten just doesn't happen.
Yeah, right.
It's almost like phone calls. When do you ever speak on the phone?
Someone in my office leads a weekly yoga practice where we practice gratitude.
Awesome.
We have a departmental chalkboard wall where we can share our accomplishments. And I work remotely, so I start off with meditating and then go to my gratitude journal and write 3 things I'm grateful for that day. Oh, someone's starting that 30-day plan a little early.
That's awesome. So good.
And last but not least, our small team has started to do a short reflective activity at the end of our weekly meeting with a short guided meditation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, so let's go one step further and tell us what you are willing to commit to implementing at work to practice your influence using your gratitude. So what can you do? Even if you work remotely, what might that look like?
Give us an example.
So creating a gratitude jar for everyone within your office that they can contribute to, and then you'll read them at a monthly meeting or a weekly meeting. Telling one person each day what you can appreciate about them or how grateful you are for them.
Mm.
Something like that. Do you have any other ideas, Chris?
No, many, but I will read some that have come into this box, which is great. So say thank you to every student worker at the end of his or her shift and tell them something positive about their work that day. That's passing it on to that next generation. Love it. Ask my manager to make some time in our one-on-one meetings to recognize things that are going well. So
Good.
that dynamic, which is awesome. Leave a note of thanks at the office with leaves saying that what we appreciate about individuals in the office.
Oh,
I like that. Leaf a note of thanks.
yeah.
Get it? Yeah. Nice. That's great. So we have about 14 minutes left. So I want to make
Perfect.
sure we get to our 30-day plan here.
We have got it. Thank you, everybody, for contributing. Those are some fantastic ideas. At this point, many of you may be wondering how exactly you can begin a gratitude plan. And that brings us to our final objective today. We have a 30-day plan that we want to share with you, and it will really give you everything that you need to get started. So cultivating appreciation and gratitude in your life can move you into that experience and quality of life in so many ways, right? It can improve everything for you. This 30-day plan will help you engage with the practice in your personal and professional life. So we've created a document for you that you can download and use. I don't know, Chris, if you can tell them where that's going to be. Oh, you should.
Yeah, so it's in your panel. You'll see a little section called handouts, and it's in there. It's a PDF, so you should just be able to download it now and see exactly what Catherine is talking about.
Great. All right. So this guide will help you implement your daily practice. It'll work you through each and every step, and then finally you get to assess your results at the end of that 30 days. So step number 1 is you've got to write it down. This is the very first thing. So when the plan, the idea moves out of your head and onto paper, it becomes real, and you find more clarity for how to move forward with it. It gives you something to look forward to, and it gives you a plan for the whole practice. So you'll create an I will statement that looks something like this. I will begin my 30-day practice on December 14th, working through each activity on a daily basis, and I will complete my plan on January 14th. Okay? So short and sweet, easy, simple. Our suggestion for your practice is to do the daily and weekly journaling as we've outlined it here. You can choose to do all of it, or if it feels a little bit extensive and you want to do something but not quite all of it, just pick something. Pick 1 or 2 items that you want to do. Make it your own practice and make it fun. We don't want this to become one more thing that you have to add to your to-do list that makes you feel bad. This isn't about feeling bad. It's about feeling good, right? And engaging with a practice that will bring to you what you want. So our items there, the daily items, are listing 3 items that you appreciate. 1 about yourself, 2 your work, 3 your personal life, and then why you're grateful for them. The second one is list an item that you're grateful for in the past. Something that happened, some experience you had, and why you're grateful for it. Then list 1 thing that you want in the future. Imagine that you have it in this moment and express your gratitude for it. So that's that whole idea of using the seed analogy and what you're going to produce from there. Then once a week, this is the fun one, reach out to 1 person to express your appreciation. And that can be done over email, text. You can send a written note. Wouldn't that be fun? Or you can call someone. And just imagine how that person is going to feel when you express your appreciation and your gratitude for them. So always be specific. Remember that. It's super important that you go deep and specific in your gratitude. Step number 2 is understanding your why. Thoughts and using your thoughts and your feelings here. So why do you want to participate in this appreciation and gratitude plan? Consider the benefits that we talked about earlier, what you want to see in your own life as a result of doing this practice. Maybe it's as simple as wanting to bring more positive feelings into your life. After you get your reason why, then you'll want to ask yourself this question. How do you want to feel when you think about why you want to do it? Okay? How do you feel when you think about that reason? And then you write down that one-word feeling that the reason evokes in you. In this example that we used of feeling more positive feelings, that might evoke a feeling of eagerness or excitement. So you decide what the feeling is and then write it down. The step number 3 is looking at the obstacles. Find your weeds and then plan your strategies around eradicating the weeds. Get rid of the weeds. Pull them, yank them, whatever it is that you need to do. Create those strategies to move beyond the obstacles. Okay. Step number 5 is getting the plan on the calendar. This is one of the, in addition to writing it down, right, writing down what you want to do, the other is making the action plan. If it's on your calendar, whether that's electronic or in a handwritten calendar planner that you use, get it down. Decide whether you're going to do it in the morning or in the evening, whatever that looks like. Think about the what, the when, and the where for each and every day. And the final step is assessing the plan. It's answering the questions about the process to gain greater insight into how the experience has affected you. So we have 5 questions that will help guide you through what you've learned about yourself, the changes that you've seen in the different aspects of your life, maybe how you feel about your personal situation, how you feel about you personally, the relationships, your work, social, emotional, all of those things. Even a spiritual context can come into play. So that, my friends, is the process. Short and sweet, but very effective in helping you get it going. So Chris and I have both committed to doing a 30-day plan, and we're going to hold each other accountable. And you have something fun to share with us, Chris.
Yeah, so we're not just talking the talk. Catherine and I are walking the walk. And we thought we would create a 30-day challenge for you all. So we're not just going to walk away from this webinar and say, yeah, that sounded good. We're going to do this, people. So we're going to hold a special e-workshop on February 7th for anyone who attended this webinar to see the effects of our gratitude plans and also discuss what was hard about it. Why did I miss 5 days in a row around the holidays? Or what was that challenge that I didn't know would happen? Or what were these great effects that we realized? So if you can find a colleague or a coworker or a friend to hold you accountable, it might make it easier for you. And we're going to come and share what it was like for us to do this. So after this webinar, I've had one person who has had trouble downloading the worksheet. So after this webinar, we will send out the PDF worksheet as an attachment to the email to make sure you get it, and also the invitation to this special webinar workshop that we're going to hold to try to see how all of this went for us, because we are all on the same page and certainly not experts, right? At least I can say that for myself.
There's always room to grow, always, always.
That's right.
All right. Well, I do hope that you all join us. I think it's going to be a really fun experience, especially coming back on February 7th and talking about it. Hopefully we'll find a way where everybody can share what's gone on for them. But I want to leave you with this quote that really honestly sums up the whole thing in a very short way. It's from Melody Beatty, who's a well-known American author. She wrote Codependent No More, in case you're familiar with that. And she says, gratitude turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion into clarity. It makes sense of our past, brings peace to our present, and creates a vision for tomorrow.
Nice.
So it has been my absolute pleasure sharing with all of you today. Thank you so much, Chris, and for all of you spending your time here with us. If you do have any questions, you are more than welcome to reach out to me about anything we've talked about today, what I do. I'd love to chat with you, and I hope to see you all again in February. So, Chris, the
Awesome.
floor is yours, my dear.
Yeah, so other resources. So obviously, thank you, Catherine, for all your expertise. It's just been wonderful having you as our guest for this webinar. And on the right-hand side here, I've got some Global Leadership League resources for all of you who are members. And if you're not a member, I hope this awesome webinar has convinced you to become one. Mentoring circles are starting in January, so if you want to be a part of a mentoring circle where you can be a mentee or a mentor, really helping each other grow, please sign up now on our website. We also are out in San Francisco at the AIEA conference. We have a dinner on January 20th. That's also available for sign up on our website. We're having a wonderful negotiation conference workshop before the forum on March 26th that you can sign up for. And there's also going to be a workshop at the end of NAFSA on that Friday when we really need rejuvenation after that giant week. So please be on the lookout for that as well. And we're getting lots of thanks in our chat box for this, Catherine. So thanks again. It's really been a delight. And we really hope that you go into this break rejuvenated and that we can commit to this 30 days. And in February, we feel the best in the Northern Hemisphere midwinter than we've ever felt.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.